Good afternoon everybody and welcome to another video from Tool Travels. Today you find me in Belgrade in Serbia. I've just come back from the UK where I spent a couple of weeks checking in with family and whatnot. Now I've got a rental apartment here in Belgrade. We can look out the window, got some Serbian flags flying high. Bit of a glum day unfortunately, but quite a nice view. So yes, I have to talk about Ukraine. Now, in my last video, of course, I didn't predict that there would be this all-out war in Ukraine. Because everybody's mind was changing all the time about this, and a lot of people didn't predict what happened. So when I recorded my last video, which was on something like, I don't know, Sunday, 20th of February, I can't quite remember. I had one feeling, and then by the time I released the video, my mind was changing every couple of days. So yeah, this invasion of Ukraine really caught a lot of people off guard. A lot of people didn't think it would happen, so I hold my hands up, I got it wrong. Yeah, so for the last couple of weeks it's been a bit manic. I've been in contact with a lot of people inside Ukraine. Foreigners, Ukrainian friends, and just trying to get an idea of what's going on. And most of my friends, I would say, have fled the country, wisely fled the country, but there are a few that are staying there. And those are mostly in the west of the country, which is, a bit of a safe haven at the moment. So there's a whole host of terrible things that are going on in Ukraine at the moment. The worst thing is when innocent civilians are involved, and often in these world conflicts it's the poorest people that get caught up in this. So there's a lot of people in Ukraine that lead a very hard life, and it doesn't seem fair that they have to deal with war now as well, and bombs dropping on their heads. Yeah, and particularly when children get involved in these conflicts. I mean, young kids that are totally innocent, they don't have any opinions about anything in the world, and they're being blown to bits. All sorts of other horrible things going on. Maybe old people, pensioners hiding in their basements. And a lot of the cities that have been hardest hit are some of the poorest areas of the country. We've got Mariupol, Kharkiv, Sumy. So yeah, it's very, very disturbing. I mean, a lot of these old people, they've had hard lives, they've been working in some factory in Mariupol for their whole life, and they just wanted to retire with some form of dignity in their lives, and this is what they get. And then you've got the separation of families. The women and the children are heading west into Poland and other countries neighboring Ukraine, while the men have to stay and fight. So you can imagine the scenes at the bus stations or train stations in Ukraine where a guy's got to say goodbye to his wife and child, knowing full well that he might not see them again. So just horrible. I mean, if this happened in a more affluent Western country, then there'll probably be a bigger exodus of people from the country. But you have to remember that Ukraine's a very, very poor country. I think the poorest country in Europe, or the second poorest country in Europe, and a lot of people, they can't just ditch everything they have and move to another country, because a lot of them don't have the money. They don't know what it's going to be like in this other country. They don't know how well they're going to treat refugees. A lot of people have their Soviet apartments in Ukraine, and that's about it. So yeah, they're forced to stay in their homes and hope they're not bombed to pieces. So yeah, another very, very sad aspect is that we have, what are pretty much brotherly countries fighting each other. I mean, Russia and Ukraine have got so much in common. They have shared language, A lot of people speak Russian in Ukraine, and very similar culture. So it's very sad to see Slav against Slav, and in Serbia we know all about this because of course we had the war in Yugoslavia in the 90s, which was a huge humanitarian catastrophe. So yeah, I'm not just thinking about my friends in Ukraine, but just all the acquaintances and people that I've known over the years, and even the person that serves me my coffee in the morning, I wonder where they are, whether they've been conscripted for the army, whether they're somewhere in Ukraine now with a machine gun in their hand. So yeah, I'm praying for a quick solution to this war, but nobody's got any idea of how long it's going to go on for. It could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years. I'm just trying to lend my support to people I know in the country and just letting them know if there's any way I can help, being outside of the country, with any kind of logistical issues or whatever it is. And of course, we can help by making donations to the people of Ukraine. Don't also forget the people of Donbass in the east of the country, because these people have been under 8 years of bombing. So whatever your political standpoint is, from a humanitarian point of view, then we should also help these people out, because you've got many children that have died in Donbass in the last 8 years. So I really don't want to get into geopolitics with my videos, because when I set out to make this channel, I didn't intend to be a geopolitical commentator or something like that. I just wanted to make travel videos basically. So if you're expecting in future something like that from my videos, then you're going to be disappointed, I'm afraid. Anyway, all I can say is I'm going to try very hard to leave politics out of my future videos, and it's also going to be very hard just making any videos whatsoever, because there's this situation just weighing on my mind for a lot of the day. But maybe if I make some videos, that'll help me forget things. And also I'm also fearing some kind of wider conflict in Europe, like many of you, because who knows whether this conflict will just be resigned to Ukraine, because we've got many different players in the conflict. So I'm praying for peace, and I think most decent people in the world are against war and unnecessary death, but there is a minority of people in the world that capitalize in these kind of situations. So I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I've got so many thoughts in my head, but I can't think now. So yeah, all these refugees that are piling into other countries in Europe and elsewhere, let's try and be as nice as possible to them, because Ukrainians are really good people, and they're not going to come into your country and treat it with disrespect or cause trouble. They're very considerate people, so let's extend a hand to them and help out as much as possible. Now let's also remember the people of Russia, because they're going through a very hard time at the moment. Basically, Russia's been cancelled, so there's no Visa card or MasterCard from tomorrow, I think it is. A lot of Western countries have pulled out. They've got currency controls. Life's going to be getting very, very hard for Russian people soon. And a lot of them have got vivid memories of the 1990s, when there was economic collapse, when Russia was transitioning from the Soviet Union. So yeah, Russians are good people just like Ukrainian people, and it's not like they had some kind of referendum in Russia, shall we go to war with Ukraine or not, these kind of things people don't have any say in. So I feel very bad for them as well, because many of them probably never thought that things would get as bad as the 90s again. And there's also a lot of heartache in Russia. You can imagine Russian mothers and fathers are saying goodbye to their sons that are going off to fight in Ukraine. Maybe a lot of them don't even know that their sons are going off to fight in Ukraine. And then they get that ominous phone call. So that's desperately sad as well. Anyway, so I just wanted to fill you in on my travel plans. Now, in my last video, I think I told you I was going to India. Now, I've called off that trip. I had a visa to go there and everything, but I don't know. India's a pretty hardcore place for travel, at least to do the things that I want to do. So I'm not really feeling physically up for it, to be honest, at the moment, for that kind of travel. So I'm going to knock it on the head. And I think I'm going to go later in the year. So my next travel destination in a few days is going to be St. Petersburg in Russia. Now, there'll be some of you that will find it odd that I'm moving to Russia in times like these, but for those of you that have seen my previous videos on Russia, you'll know that I've been planning to move to St. Petersburg for a while. So that plan hasn't changed. It's definitely more challenging now because all the problems within the country. You've got no Visa cards, no MasterCards. All sorts of Western companies are pulling out of the country. So yeah, I'm a little bit apprehensive, I have to say, but I'm going to give it a go. If I find that the situation is deteriorating rapidly and my safety's compromised, then I'll be getting out of the country pretty sharpish. So yeah, I'm looking to spend most of my time in St. Petersburg, but I'll also have the opportunity to travel around the rest of the country. So there's a lot of places on my list that I'd like to see, like Lake Baikal, northwards from St. Petersburg towards Murmansk, Tereberka, where the northern lights are, maybe the Caucasus countries, Dagestan. There's so many places for me to go in the world's biggest country. Most foreigners now, they're leaving Russia, not going into Russia. So yeah, there's some logistical issues. Yeah, Visa and MasterCard are not working, so it's going to have to be cash only. So yeah, I'll be taking a fair bit of cash there. I mean, the ruble is going down a lot, so I won't need too much for my time there, but you know, I have to be careful about security. And yeah, and also I don't know what the social situation is going to be there when the banks start running out of foreign exchange. I hope it's not going to be like in the 1990s at the end of the Soviet Union, and lots of crime and whatnot. So yeah, guys, I really don't know what else to say. I mean, I've had so many thoughts in my head for the last couple of weeks. I'm thinking to myself, okay, my next video, I've got to say that to everybody, but now I can't think of it, and I'm not organized enough to write it all down. So I just want to end the video by saying thank you very much to the people of Ukraine, because as I said, I spent a big proportion of the last 10 years in your country, and you've always treated me very well. And I never had any problems with Ukrainian people. They're Ukraine's a very decent nation. So I wish you all the best. And if any of you Ukrainians that know me think of a way that I could possibly help you out from being outside the country, then please send me a message and I'll try and do my best. And please take care of yourselves, and if you can get to safety, then please do so, because war is very unpredictable. At least try to get to the west of the country, if not out of the country altogether. And for those of you Ukrainian guys that I know that are fighting in the war, then yeah, God bless. Take care of yourselves, and I admire you for your courage and sticking up for your country.